This video is corruption rooted deeply throughout Oklahoma government agencies, and that's the truth. I've never seen a state that is run so corrupt that they don't even follow their own constitution. They don't even follow their own laws. And yes, irrefutable. I've had videos up since 2015 that show irrefutable proof against judges, DAs, everybody, and not one indictment. Nobody's done anything. Emily Redmond was forced into retirement. Campbell's reputation is destroyed, but not one charge. And still I haven't found any decent, honorable, or reputable people here that will even help with the false charges that I have on me and irrefutable proof of my innocence. So this leads me to believe that there are no good people in Oklahoma, and if they are, they've got their head buried in the sand hoping this will go away. And if you're a Christian in Oklahoma, you got to be ashamed of yourself for allowing this to go on. And if you're any kind of a good person, you got to be ashamed too. That's like Mark Wayne. His political office said, well, our ethics code prevents us from taking action against those who violate their ethical code. Well, that's a load of bullshit, because if you go through the Oklahoma Constitution, there's all kinds of articles in there on how to get rid of corrupt judges, congressmen, senators, everywhere in the Oklahoma Constitution, as opposed to where COJC will give you the bullshit excuse to where, oh, well, due to Oklahoma Constitution, we can't take any action. Bullshit. Show me where you can't take any action. There's all kinds of actions you can take in the Oklahoma Constitution to rid out corruption. These people just make up their own rules and just piss on everybody else. As far as also, your governor, he's made a deal with OES, with OG&E for the 2% billing increase. A deal with the devil. And I guarantee you, when he can't get this thing pushed forward for the police, law enforcement, and the teachers, he's going to blame the federal government. And that's how these people do it. It's the oldest thing in the book. Draw attention to somewhere else while you're putting your hand in the money pot. You know, they probably skim so much of federal subsistence that the state gets for infrastructure, and that's why a lot of streets and stuff like that, communities, buildings, and everything are still out of disrepair. But they're living high off the hog at your discomfort, and they don't care because you let them get away with it. Now this next one shows where there's a child protection service. These people got caught lying and falsifying documents, and that's no stranger to the Bryan County Child Support Protection Agency, which is lying about me and everything like this, and I've shown them proof, and it doesn't stop. I mean, they're filing stuff against me that was out of statute of limitations, and there's judges signing off on it. And there'll be videos about that, and I'll show you where they're actually breaking the law and lying and falsifying stuff. And these people here, these paper pushers, they sit there and spend like an hour trying to shove their fat ass into a tight pair of jeans. They sit around their water fountain all day in the morning, talk about how hard their job is, while they call in with a false thing of, car trouble while they're getting their hair done. I've seen these slackers time and time again. If they'd spend less time fucking complaining about their jobs and all this and actually do the work that they're hired to do, there wouldn't be any problem. But I guess lying and falsifying documents is part of Oklahoma State workers' qualifications. It seemed to be part of theirs, and yet they're crying about it. Oh, our workload is so heavy. It's like bullshit. If you quit your bitching and do it like you're supposed to, you have it done. All you got to do is drive from point A to point B, get a statement, then go from point C to point D, get another statement, whatever. Instead of going to the hair salon during your business hours, to where you're supposed to be working, and And then you got the male wusses that jump in. Oh, well, I broke a fingernail also. And yes, this work is so hard. We have it so hard. You know, I've seen too many of those male wusses jump in there with that. And I've got 40 years in the workforce. And I've seen so many pathetic and inexcusable reasons why these people lie and falsify. It's unacceptable. They should all be thrown in prison. And that's just the way I feel. The only agencies in Oklahoma I haven't found any corruption or, falsifying is workforce and the OESC. That's the only two. Everybody else, you can just, whatever. They're embezzling money from you guys and swearing up and down they're doing their jobs. Now here you go. Here's where DNA is being faked just so that people can get benefits on people that are deceased. See, DNA fraud faking is common, big time common. Just read this stuff. You can look it up, just like I did. It's all over the freaking internet. And it's not above Oklahoma DA and Oklahoma Child Support to falsify and back false DNA. And even fraudulent court things. I'm gonna got a video on that too, where I'll show irrefutable proof that the Durant Child Support Agency did that to me. And nothing will come of it. I already know that. The corruption is so rooted so deep in this state, they're all guilty of it. So there's this old saying, honor among thieves. I'd be ashamed to call myself an Oklahoman. I'm lucky I'm not. Now here's another thing about DNA. If you kiss somebody or whatever, their DNA will contaminate your mouth, stay in your mouth for up to an hour. See, test results can be thrown off by the simplest things. They're not 100%, especially the saliva test. It's definitely, you can look this up, same as I did. The saliva DNA can be corrupted at any point, manipulated by unskilled people. And Oklahoma Child Support, they don't even care. They just bury it under so much paperwork and lies and stuff to where you'd have to spend a small fortune just to challenge it, to find a judge that'll actually, give you permission. Because the judges are in on it too here. I'd safely say 70% of the judicial members in Oklahoma don't follow the Constitution of the United States, don't follow the Oklahoma Constitution, and don't even care about the Oklahoma laws. Same with the DA. Here you go, 30% of father identification. And that's not counting all the frauded findings as mine. And here's saying where Trump was coming up with Trump. That's one of the biggest freaking whatever communists I've ever seen. Put it in my email box. My response to him is, quit emailing me, you fucking Nazi. On every email he sent, that was my reply. This dude's a hero to every crook in freaking Oklahoma, which is 80 to 90% of your elected or unelected and appointed Senate, judicial members, DA, you name it. But this shows to show how falsification of DNA is really common. And that's through the saliva. And how little your agencies do to make sure that it's not being. Because they're corrupt. They don't care. They're too busy trying to fit their fat ass into a skinny pair of jeans. Do their jobs correctly. Putting on 10 coats of fucking makeup. They look like they're more going out to score a date than they are when they're going to work. And when they were doing that remote from home because of COVID-19, they were even less productive and falsifying documents and stuff. I guarantee it. Playing bingo on their cell phones or whatever when they should be doing their jobs. I found out also, Oklahoma, all you have to do to be a state worker here is get an associate's. Now, it doesn't tell you associates in what. Just have an associate. So you could go to a culinary college and get an associate's degree in cupcake making and get you Oklahoma State job and not have any background in any training whatsoever of what you're going to do, which legitimate organizations require that your associates be in a relative area of the profession or position that you're, so that you know what you're actually doing. Not in Oklahoma, just an associate's, any kind of an associate's. And you can get you a job destroying people's lives in Oklahoma. And then your supervisor or your, like Renee Banker, if you work for her in child support service, they'll lie to cover it up to make sure that you don't do anything. She's like a head leader, Hitler of freaking child support, as far as I'm concerned. They don't do nothing to thin out the corruption, because the corruption is rooted so deep in Oklahoma. If you were a farmer and you had a crop that was a field of, crop that was that bad, yeah, this is your governor here, a do-nothing approach to weeding out corruption. Because he's part of it. Here's where you can also thank him for your 2% increase on your OG&E bill. That now they're doing, and see, essential utilities like that get federal subsistence to keep their stuff updated. They just skimming it off the top and make excuses when your power's out because they didn't buy the proper replacement equipment that you were supposed to get. And I wouldn't trust this stick guy behind me, but as long as you guys feel comfortable with him covering your back, that's fine. Now here's something about America that's unbeknownst, I guess people in Oklahoma don't realize. But we were all guaranteed the opportunity for life, liberty, and a pursuit of happiness. That's not so in Oklahoma. Only the corrupt think that they deserve happiness at the expense of others. And the DA in Oklahoma doesn't prosecute crime. They fabricate it. And talk some of these poor, uneducated people into going for it that they falsely incriminate, to where they do it by how many prosecutions, and stuff that they've done. Convictions. It has nothing to do with justice. Just like Emily Redman and Mark Campbell. And if you guys think I'm just BSing you, that playlist in YouTube is going to come up at the end of this. Just look at it. And there's irrefutable evidence in all of it. And not one indictment. Nobody's even bothered to clear up the wrongful conviction that was bestowed on me when I was railroaded. Not once did any of these people say I was guilty. They just said I was convicted wrongly. And I told them not by any evidence. By somebody taking bribes. See, there's no such thing as justice in Oklahoma. Not American justice. I don't even think there's anything left of America in Oklahoma. Any American ideas. But your politicians will sit there and complain about the federal government, Biden doing this, Biden doing that, while Stitt's sitting there making deals with corporations, raising your utility bills, and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. See, here's a history on Oklahoma, and this tries to make an excuse for why Oklahoma is so corrupt. And that's all it is. It's just an excuse. This ain't the freaking 1880s and stuff like this. People are supposed to be educated. This is 2022. See, this is some lame excuse why they're still going on. But there's still hope for you guys. God could intervene. Because going back to the farmer, you would have to sterilize that field, burn the crops, and let it sit in there for years, and then try to recondition the soil and try to replant it. Or the other option would be to drive all the corrupt people out of office by gunpoint, which I don't suggest, but and then forbid them from going back to the office. Or this is probably what's going to be the most likely way Oklahoma can free itself from all the corruption in its state government, is if God intervenes, if the good Lord intervenes on behalf of you do-nothing people. You know, this is if the good Lord intervenes to rid the corruption from the Oklahoma state government. If the Lord could intervene like he did in the Old Testament and rid you of the corruption that you have allowed to seep into your government to where it's so bad you can't even get it out, this would be the only way that I see possible for the corruption to actually be rid in Oklahoma of the state government. Problem solved. And that's the only realistic way that I honest to God believe that you could get all the crime out of your state government. And that looked so good the first time, I ran it 2 more times. It brought a smile to my face. Not in any bad way, it's just that after all the false prosecution I went through and 8 years of harassment from the DA's office and 425 days I wrongfully was illegally kidnapped in Oklahoma, this actually brought a smile to my face. But that's the only realistic way that I see all the corruption being taken out of your state government. See, because after this happens, you can start from scratch. Let's see it one more time. Just brings a smile to my face. And I don't believe it to be a wrong thing. I think the smile on my face is justified after all the years of harassment I've gotten, and still not been able to find a good person or righteous person in this state who only does righteous and good things when it only suits them. That's his state. Pure and simple. And I've got over 50 videos that prove it. Problem solved. Yeah, this is, so let's all pray that the good Lord intervenes and takes care of this problem for y'all. And maybe you Christians can raise your heads again. Be proud to be born in Oklahoma when you get rid of all the snakes inside your state government. And then you'd be a happy part of the United States again. You guys wouldn't have to worry about trying to, distract the people by blaming the federal government when it's not the federal government's problem for your problems. It's your corrupt, elected or appointed officials that are causing all your problems. Guaranteed. I guarantee you that's where your problems are coming from. Federal government has nothing to do with it. If you keep your corrupt elected officials from skimming off the top, you probably might have a decent state. But when old Stitt said he was going to make you 10, he's not off by much. You guys are the 11th corrupt. So maybe when he was talking about you guys were going to be the 10th corrupt state in the union. Because all he says is he's going to make Oklahoma number 10. And in 2014, you were number 11. So shouldn't be that hard to get the slot number 10, number 9 of the corrupt most corrupt state in the country. He didn't say you guys would be the 10 best, or unless he meant the 10 best at being corrupt. You guys aren't far off from it. That number, he said, number 10. But he'll come up with an excuse why he didn't. And you guys even had Scott Pruitt as your attorney general. That's another corrupt individual. I mean, you just corrupt politicians, corrupt people just get appointed in your government left and right. I don't know of any of them that are actually honest. Every honest person that somebody's told me that somebody's honest, I reach out to them and it turns out that then they show their true colors. Like I said, they don't do anything unless there's something in them for it. And they're not going to do anything for you unless you got money to where you can keep backing their campaign. So if you're just the average person on the street here in Oklahoma, you're screwed. You don't, as far as a politician, you're not going to find anybody to help you. You can't even find anybody once you have all this evidence. Like here, look at how many videos, and it's still growing. And I'm the one that's going to bear witness. Because if you think this is going away, probably not in your lifetime. I'm hoping this will encourage other people to come forward with theirs. I just so much want to see that thing. But if you guys, I'll be coming up with videos soon, shortly, within the next month or so, that will show actual irrefutable proof of your child support services agency's corruptness. I guarantee you nothing will be done about that either. It's just corrupt, corrupt, corrupt. Let's hope that the Lord intervenes here shortly. Takes care of your problems for you since you're not going to do it yourself. Thank you very much. You have a good day.